Sit with me for a while, my friend. Not to escape the world, but to understand it more gently. Imagine we are walking along a quiet path at sunset, with no destination we must reach and no burden we must carry for this moment. Just walking, just breathing, just being. There was a time in my life when I believed peace was something I had to earn. I imagined it as a distant reward, waiting for me at the end of a long journey filled with challenges and achievements. I thought it would come after success, after recognition, after I solved every problem that stood in my way. I convinced myself that only when everything was perfect, only when I had checked every box, would I finally deserve to feel at ease. So I walked quickly, spoke quickly, thought quickly, and worried constantly, believing that movement itself would bring me closer to calm. I filled my days with endless tasks, always chasing the next milestone, hoping that peace would greet me at the finish line. But the faster I moved, the further peace seemed to be. It was as if the more I tried to earn it, the more it slipped away, reminding me that true peace cannot be chased or achieved. It must be allowed. I remember a particular season of my life when everything felt urgent, every decision felt heavy, every mistake felt permanent, and every day felt like a race I was losing. My mind was loud, like a marketplace where 1,000 voices shouted at once. I could not hear myself, and I certainly could not hear peace. One evening, exhausted from my own thoughts, I wandered to the edge of a small lake near the monastery. The water was still, reflecting the sky so clearly that I could not tell where the sky ended and the water began. I sat down, not to meditate, not to pray, but simply because I had no more energy left to think. At first, my mind continued its noise. It replayed conversations, imagined future problems, judged past decisions, but the lake did nothing. The trees did nothing. The sky did nothing. They simply existed without trying to improve the moment. And, slowly, without effort, something inside me began to slow down too. I did not find peace that evening. I fell into it. It happened the way a leaf falls into water, not by force, not by effort, but by letting go of the branch it was clinging to. I realized I had been clinging to expectations about how life should look, how I should be, how others should treat me, how quickly things should change. My exhaustion was not from life itself, but from resisting it. Many people think peace comes from controlling everything around them, but honestly, control is a heavy responsibility. The more you try to control life, the more you fear losing your grip. Peace does not grow in tight fists. It grows in open hands. I once met a traveler who had crossed many countries in search of happiness. He told me he had seen oceans, mountains, cities full of lights, and deserts stretching beyond the horizon. Yet he said his mind felt the same everywhere, restless, unsatisfied, always searching for the next place. He asked me, "Where can I go to finally feel calm?" I told him, "The place you are trying to escape from is the only place peace can begin, inside your own awareness. You see, we carry our minds everywhere. If the mind is unsettled, no location can bring peace. But if the mind learns to rest, even a crowded street can feel calm." Falling into peace does not mean life becomes easy. I still face difficulties. I still feel sadness, frustration, and uncertainty. The difference is that I no longer fight these feelings as if they should not exist. When rain falls, the earth does not argue. It simply absorbs what comes and waits for the sun again. When you stop demanding that every moment be pleasant, you discover a deeper kind of peace, one that can exist even in imperfect situations. There is a story about a man who carried a heavy sack on his back everywhere he went. No matter where his journey took him, through bustling villages or quiet forests, the sack was always there, weighing him down. Inside the sack were stones, each one representing a worry about the future, or regret from the past. Some stones were small, almost unnoticeable, while others were so large they seemed impossible to carry, yet he never put any of them down. Over time, he forgot he was carrying it. The weight became so familiar that he no longer questioned its presence, and he simply accepted it as part of his daily life. He believed the weight was just a normal part of living. He assumed that everyone must be carrying something similar, and so he never thought to ask if it could be any different. One day, someone asked him, "Why are you carrying that?" The question surprised him, as if a gentle breeze had suddenly lifted a corner of the sack and let in a ray of light. The man replied, "Carrying what?" He had become so used to his burdens that he no longer noticed them, forgetting that he had the choice to set them down. This is how many of us live. We carry mental burdens for so long that we no longer question them. Peace begins the moment you gently put one stone down, not all at once, just one unnecessary worry, one harsh self-judgment, one comparison you no longer need. As the load becomes lighter, you do not rise into peace, you sink into it. I learned to practice small moments of stillness during ordinary days. These moments weren't grand or dramatic, but simple pauses, tiny invitations to be present, right where I was, no matter what was happening around me. While drinking tea, I just drank tea. I let the warmth of the cup ground me, noticing the aroma, the gentle steam, the way the liquid felt as I sipped. Each detail became a doorway into the present. While walking, I just walked. I listened to the sound of my footsteps, the rustle of leaves, the rhythm of my breath. I let go of the urge to rush and simply moved with the world, not planning the next task, not replaying the last conversation. I allowed my mind to rest, even if only for a few breaths, and noticed how much lighter I felt. At first, the mind resisted. It was uncomfortable to pause, to do nothing, to simply be. My thoughts raced, telling me I should be busy, productive, always moving forward. It said, "This is unproductive. You are falling behind." The pressure to keep up with expectations was strong, and the habit of constant doing was hard to break. But I began to notice something surprising. When I slowed down, I made clearer decisions. My thoughts became less tangled, and I could see what truly mattered. When I rested my mind, I had more energy to care for others. Stillness, I discovered, was not a waste of time, but a source of strength and compassion. Peace is not the enemy of progress, it's actually the foundation of wise action. When your mind is calm, you see what truly matters and, well, what does not. You stop wasting time chasing approval from people who are also unsure of themselves. You stop measuring your worth by how busy you are. You begin to value presence over performance. Falling into peace also changed how I see time. Before, I treated time like a limited resource I had to squeeze as much achievement from as possible. Now, I see time as a series of moments to experience fully. A single peaceful moment lived with awareness is richer than a day spent rushing without noticing anything. My friend, your life is not only the big milestones, it is also the quiet mornings, the small conversations, the simple breaths you take without realizing they are gifts. When you are always chasing the next big thing, you step over the small, beautiful things that make life meaningful. Peace helps you notice them. If you feel lost right now, if your mind feels noisy and your heart feels tired, do not try to force yourself into happiness. Instead, give yourself permission to pause. Sit somewhere quietly. Feel your breath. Let your thoughts come and go without chasing them. You may not feel peaceful immediately, but you are creating the space where peace can gently land. Remember, I did not climb to peace. I fell into it when I stopped running. You do not have to change your whole life overnight. Just begin with one slow breath, one mindful step, one moment of allowing life to be as it is. Peace is not hiding from you. It's, just waiting beneath the noise. And perhaps, like me by that still lake, you will one day realize that peace was never something you had to find, it was something you simply had to stop resisting so you could finally fall into it.